Well, it seems like the Bloodborne news, or at the very least alleged Bloodborne news, just it's not stopping. Just more and more, it just keeps coming out. And tonight, I'm scrolling through Twitter, and I see people they're posting about there's allegedly multiple studios, over 10 studios had pitched to Sony to do a remake, a sequel, a spin-off, anything for Bloodborne, and they were all allegedly rejected. And yeah, that's kind of crazy. Like, I opening Twitter and seeing like one article about Bloodborne during the week, that's enough. But seeing like two in the span of like a week's time, that's crazy. So I'm gonna get into it here. So apparently, Brandon Sheffield over on Blue Sky, he is the director of Necrosoft Games, and he claimed on his Blue Sky account that apparently 10 plus studios had pitched ideas for a sequel, remake, spin-off. I'm reading this article from thefandomwire.com because the tweet, or I guess it's the Blue Sky post, whatever you want to call it, has been taken down. Like, it's I can't view it. It's not there anymore. So it's very interesting. We'll see what kind of like comes out of this, if anything, if there's backpedaling. I have no idea the validity on, you know, how reliable he is, but I'm seeing more reputable pages on X, on Twitter, posting about this. So this definitely has me raising some eyebrows, saying, okay, maybe where there's smoke, there's fire. And maybe, you know, there wasn't a full, like, 10 plus studios pitching this stuff. But even still, I would imagine there were probably some studios saying, hey, this is an IP that every time there's an event, every time there's an announcement for, like, a showcase for PlayStation, anything Sony, even FromSoft related, people are going to be in that comment section. What is the main thing that they're asking for? Bloodborne, Bloodborne, Bloodborne. Sequel, remaster, remake, whatever. Like, that is the top comment. We are reaching, like, Bloodborne, it has reached that status of, like, the Half-Life 3. Of just insane cope. And like I've said, I think in a previous video, like, I'm interested to see where this cope goes after all of this news that we've been finding out, that basically, allegedly, Sony was cool with doing Bloodborne. Like, they wanted to do something with the IP, or were at the very least down for it, but they just ended any movement on that from Bluepoint Studios out of respect for Hidetaka Miyazaki and From Software. So all this report, this alleging of the fact that there were multiple studios that had pitched different ideas, different projects within the Bloodborne universe, all being rejected by Sony, is very interesting to me. Again, because according to the Bloomberg Post, the article, like, it mentions that FromSoft was like, hey, yeah, the numbers are good for this. Like, we're down for this. This makes sense financially. FromSoft is not cool with this. We're not going to step on their toes. And I just find all of this to be so fascinating. One, that all of this is coming out at the same time. Could this be a ploy from, you know, our dude over here, Mr. Brandon, just trying to get some clicks? I have no idea. Again, I don't know much about him, so I can't speculate that far. But it is very interesting that all of this is coming out right now. And yeah, I mean, part of me wants to say props to Sony, given it, whether if this is true or not, that they stepped up and were like, hey, we are going to not do anything with this IP until the original creators decide that they're ready, and when they come to us. And I would much rather be in a world where the fate of Bloodborne is in FromSoft's hands than Sony's, like we've thought for years. Like, we are like, oh, Sony's the one blocking FromSoft. That's not really the case. And you know, we've had Hidetaka Miyazaki, he's out there, you know, saying like, hey, this is in Sony's hands, what have you. Maybe there were conversations afterwards that came after that. I mean, we have no idea. And I'm sure some of that was a legal thing where it's like, hey, I don't own this, our company doesn't own this, therefore I can't really speak on this even though the internal politics of everything were a little bit different. I'm sure legally speaking, he didn't want to get into trouble. Fair enough. Understandable. But yeah, so the idea of multiple studios pitching projects within the Bloodborne universe, I mean, I wonder if are we talking live service games? Are we talking about games outside of a sole genre, like maybe a first person, maybe a more action RPG like Skyrim type game? I mean, I really would love to know what were the games that, like, along with a remake, but like what were the games that were pitched within the Bloodborne universe as a sequel, as a spin-off, that Sony said no to. Like, we're not doing this. Like, FromSoft will touch this when they are ready to, which seems to be the position that we're in right now. And yeah, again, all of this is very much alleged. The fact that the post, I'm looking at it right now, it's down currently. Like, it says page not found. It may have been deleted on Blue Sky. That raises some alarm bells, but I know people are probably going to be talking about this, and I wanted to go ahead and make a video on it since I was already sitting down. I was doing some editing on a future video that I'm working on for Bloodborne, oddly enough. I'm working on a 11th anniversary video. The intro for that, I'm really excited for you guys to see. I'm not going to be releasing that video until the 24th on the release date for Bloodborne. So you're gonna just have to wait for that, but I'm getting kind of excited for this. So yeah, so much interesting news, so much interesting conversation around Bloodborne these days. Again, I would just rather all of this be in FromSoft's hands, which it appears to be, despite the fact that they don't own it. At any point, Sony could have said, we're doing our own thing. We are going to, do a sequel, do a remake, do a reboot, or a reboot, whatever. Like, genuinely, they could do that. Legally, they could do that. But, and I do wonder, after Demon Souls, I know Miyazaki has praised Demon Souls, but again, allegedly within FromSoft, there were a lot of people who were not happy with the fact that Sony kind of stepped over them to do that without any of their input. I'm sure even if Miyazaki was cool with it, other older members of FromSoft would have been like, yeah, what? Like, you're just leaving us out of this? Like, with no creative input at all? It's kind of crazy to me. And I'm sure they felt slighted, which is understandable. And I think maybe after that, and let's be real, the release of Elden Ring being one of the biggest phenomenons we've seen in gaming in the past, this whole generation, really, is a game still constantly talked about. I think that had Sony stand up in their chair and be like, okay, we've misjudged. We this whole time we had it wrong. Kind of like I probably the best comparison is the person who, goes to high school, no one's really interested in dating them or whatever, and then they have this big glow up, and then all of a sudden all the everyone who wasn't interested in them, they're like, oh my gosh, now we were sleeping on this, why? And then that kind of puts it in that person's court, and they can be like, no, you guys didn't want to be with me back then, why would I want to be with you now? And I don't know if that's how FromSoft feels towards Sony. It doesn't appear to be that case, but also, I mean, FromSoft's out here making games for Nintendo, of all companies. So maybe there is a little bit of this, okay, you're going to have to wait on me now. And I do think that is a little bit of, when Miyazaki's ready, we will get that remaster. Maybe even a remaster / remake that includes cut content. That would be so huge. I would love that. I would love to see an expanded Bloodborne with those assets that were never fully utilized. Expanded Chalice dungeons, expanded quest lines, things like that. Would go so far. I would love it. I would I would eat it up like crazy. But anyway, again, take this report with a grain of salt that there were studios, 10 plus, allegedly pitching Bloodborne projects to Sony. Sony says no. But regardless, we still live in a world where none of those projects came through. And if all of this is in FromSoft's hands, then I think that's the best place to be. So if you like the video, hit the subscribe, hit the like button. Hit that bell button so you know when I post up another video. This one kind of came out of nowhere, so I wanted to get ahead of it. Go ahead and put something out. Go follow me on TikTok. I got the link in the description now, so go over there if you like short form content. And yeah, that'll about do it. Thanks so much, guys. I will catch you in the next one.